The power of consistent action. Have you ever wondered why some people achieve extraordinary success, while others, equally talented and equally intelligent, struggle to move forward? What is the hidden force that turns ordinary individuals into legends? It is not luck. It is not genius. It is not a sudden spark of inspiration. It is something far simpler, yet infinitely more powerful. It is the power of consistent action. Imagine a man standing before a giant mountain. The peak is covered in clouds, and the climb seems impossible. Most people would look at that mountain and walk away, defeated before even starting. But this man, he doesn't try to conquer it in a single day. He takes one step, just one, and then the next day, he takes another, and another. Day after day, step after step, he continues. At first, nobody notices him. His progress is too small to be seen. But over time, those tiny steps add up. The mountain that once seemed impossible begins to shrink before his persistence. And one morning, he looks up and realizes he is no longer at the base. He is halfway to the top. And then, eventually, he reaches the peak. This is not just a story about climbing mountains. It is a story about life, about goals, about dreams. Because in the real world, the people who win are not always the strongest, or the smartest, or the fastest. They are the ones who show up every single day. Let me tell you about a young man named Daniel. He dreamed of building a library in his small town, a place filled with knowledge, where children could discover worlds beyond their own. But Daniel had no money, no support, and no land. Everyone laughed at his dream. A library? In this forgotten town? Impossible. Yet Daniel believed. He made a simple promise to himself. Every single day, I will lay one brick, just one. On day 1, he placed the first brick. On day 2, another. Weeks passed, months passed. The walls slowly began to rise. At first, people mocked him. Then, they ignored him. But eventually, they began to notice. Children gathered, watching him work. Neighbors offered to help. Donations started to arrive. Years later, that small, forgotten town stood proudly in front of a beautiful library. It wasn't built in a week. It wasn't built in a month. It was built through the power of consistent action. But here's the truth. Consistency is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is often boring, repetitive, and exhausting. That is why so many people fail. Not because they lack talent, but because they lack discipline. There is always an enemy within us. The voice that whispers, "Skip today. You can do it tomorrow." Missing one day won't matter. But missing one day often turns into 2. 2 turns into a week. A week turns into quitting. And here lies the secret. Consistency is not about intensity. It is about identity. It is about becoming the kind of person who shows up no matter what. Rain or shine. Tired or energized. Inspired or uninspired. Because success doesn't ask how you feel today. Success only asks one question. Did you show up? In nature, there is a story about the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant its seed, during the first year, nothing happens. The second year, still nothing. The third year, no sign of growth. The fourth year, silence. Most people would give up by now. They would stop watering it, stop caring for it. But the wise farmer knows the truth. Even though nothing is visible on the surface, the bamboo is growing deep underground, building strong roots. Then comes the 5th year, and suddenly, the bamboo shoots up more than 80 feet in just a few weeks. Did it really grow in those few weeks? Or was it growing silently for years? The answer is clear. Great growth is invisible, before it becomes unstoppable. And so it is with our lives. Our efforts, repeated consistently, may not show immediate results. But when the time is right, the breakthrough comes. Let's talk about Sarah. She was an ordinary office worker who dreamed of running a marathon. She had never been athletic, never considered herself strong. But she made a decision. Her rule was simple. Every day, I will run. Even if it's just 1 mile. Even if I'm tired. Even if I don't feel like it. The first days were hard. Her lungs burned. Her legs ached. Her mind screamed to stop. But she kept going. Day after day. Step after step. Months later, she crossed the finish line of her first marathon. Tears in her eyes. A medal around her neck. And in that moment, she realized something. It wasn't the marathon that changed her. It was the journey of consistent action. That made her a different person. Here's something fascinating. Imagine a line of dominoes. The first one is small, barely the size of your finger, but each domino is 50% larger than the one before. Do you know what happens if you line up just 29 of them? The last one would be taller than the Empire State Building. That's the power of consistency. Small actions, when repeated and compounded, can topple the tallest mountains. Every book you read, every workout you complete, every dollar you save, they are all dominoes falling, creating unstoppable momentum. Success is rarely about giant leaps. It is about tiny steps, done daily, that create massive impact over time. The hardest part of consistent action is this. You will not be applauded at first. You will not be cheered. You will not be recognized. Your work will feel invisible. But that is when you must keep going. Because greatness is built in the shadows. Champions are made when the stadium is empty. Authors are forged when nobody reads their first drafts. Entrepreneurs are shaped when nobody believes in their idea. If you can keep working when nobody is watching, one day, the world will watch in awe. Picture a sculptor standing before a giant block of marble. To others, it is nothing but a lifeless stone. But the sculptor sees something more. He sees an angel trapped inside. Day after day, he strikes the stone. Each hit seems meaningless. Each strike looks exactly like the one before. But slowly, the shape begins to appear. A hand here, a wing there, until finally, the angel is revealed. When people admire the masterpiece, they ask, "How did you create this?" And the sculptor smiles. "I did not create the angel. I simply removed what was not needed." Consistency is like sculpting. It chips away at excuses, doubts, and fears, until the best version of ourselves is finally revealed. Think about money. If you save just $1 every day, it seems insignificant. But when invested consistently, that $1 grows. It multiplies. It compounds. In 10 years, in 20 years, in a lifetime, it becomes wealth. The same principle applies to knowledge, to skills, to habits. Every page you read compounds into wisdom. Every workout compounds into strength. Every act of kindness compounds into character. Consistency is the interest rate of success. It quietly multiplies your effort into results beyond imagination. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Success is not built on massive action once in a while. It is built on small, disciplined actions, every single day. The musician who practices for 20 minutes daily becomes a master. The student who studies a little each day becomes a scholar. The entrepreneur who improves 1% every day builds an empire. And the one who waits for motivation, who waits for the perfect day, remains waiting forever. Because success doesn't wait. It rewards those who act consistently. So let me ask you, what is your mountain? What is your dream? What is that vision that feels too far, too impossible, too heavy? Remember this, you do not need to climb it in a single day. You do not need to win overnight. You simply need to take the next step, and then the next, and the next. Because in the end, greatness is not built in one giant leap. It is built in the quiet, steady rhythm of consistent action. And one day, without even realizing it, you will look back and see how far you've come, and the world will call it a miracle. But you will know the truth. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was consistency. And that is the power of consistent action. If this story inspired you, remember this. Small steps, repeated every day, can change your entire life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this message today. And remember, stay consistent, stay strong, and never stop moving forward. Until next time, keep growing, keep believing, and keep becoming the person you were meant to be.